Good morning, everyone. I am Tony Parrott, the Executive Director of the Metropolitan Sewer District, and want to welcome you all here this morning for a ground, I guess you could say, an unveiling of an enormous green space for the Maple Street area. Joining me this morning, I have Congressman John Yarmouth. We also have Mayor Greg Fisher. We have President David James from Louisville Metro Council. We have Brooke Pardue, who's with the Park Alliance of Louisville, President and CEO, and Dreama Jackson, member of the Board of Directors for the Park Alliance for the California neighborhood and a California neighborhood resident. Today we are here basically because everybody that I just mentioned have been working collaboratively on trying to bring forth a enormous community amenity that resulted from more of, I guess you could say, a tragic or an unwelcome event that happened back in 2009. About 15 years ago, about August 4th, 2009, Louisville Metro experienced one of the largest rain events in history. It was a deluge of sorts, of epic proportions, and over the course of 1 hour, we had 7 inches of rain fell in this area, in this part of West Louisville, and also South Louisville. To put it in perspective, our drainage systems, we normally start having problems when we receive 3 inches of rain over a 24-hour period. So we got 7 inches in about an hour and a half. So you can imagine how that was sort of a catastrophe for this area. So because of that rain event, a lot of this area was devastated by the storm, and there was an enormous flooding that came along with it. In fact, if we were in this spot back then, you probably would have had to have waist-high waders or a boat to get out safely. That's how much water was in this area. Not only were properties and houses damaged because of the floodwaters, but a lot of people in this community lost items and also connections of a lifetime of memories and parts of their lives that will never be had again. And it was a very sad day for a lot of the residents in this community. But one of the things that we wanted to do as a part of MSD's role in maintaining the drainage system because of the flood event, we wanted to be a leader in helping the community bring themselves together and find a way to restart and rebuild. And we did that by working with FEMA, Louisville Metro, Louisville Parks Foundation, and directly with residents. For so many weeks and months, we held a lot of community discussions and community meetings. We called it Communities of the Future, and they were right around the corner there with Reverend Moses and his church. And we had a lot of meetings, and all the community that participated in that were very instrumental in helping us get to where we are today. So even though it was a tragic event in 2009, the legacy of the event has led to several things. We were able to get over a $9 million grant, which allowed MSD to help residents move out of harm's way if they chose to do that. It also gives us an opportunity for neighbors to assist each other, and it also gave us an opportunity beyond the FEMA funding to receive Phase 1 funding for a park and a green space in this community. We also got funding for community odor improvements. That will also be an amenity and an asset for this community. And for our perspective, as far as MSD, being able to pass the baton from MSD to Metro so that we can get out of the land maintenance business. We want to make sure that this is a green space, a community park that is going to be good for fellowship and health. This opportunity, this green space, this park will be a shining example of the importance of engineering that promotes equity and keeps our communities and our residents safe. In addition to innovative partnerships like those that allowed this project to come to fruition, the power of community benefits is demonstrated through connecting nonprofits with resources that they most need. So this is a project that is really looking at a holistic approach to how not only we are investing in infrastructure, but how we are revitalizing communities and neighborhoods that have been impacted by major flood events. And this experience really proves that the case of the whole is being so much greater than the sum of all the parts. We're so glad to be a part of this amazing transformation because we have taken our mission, which is safe, clean waterways, to make sure that we help provide an amenity, improve the quality of life for our neighbors, and as a result of that, empowering folks to be part of the decision in making sure that we're bringing forth a project that is resilient and can be beneficial for generations to come. Now, I mentioned that we were able to get some funding for Phase 1 of the park, and we were also able to get some funding for odor control in the California neighborhood of all the untrapped catch basins that exist in this community. We were able to get that through Congressman John Yarmouth, and Congressman is with us here today, and we'd like to ask him to come and make a few comments. Congressman John Yarmouth.
Well, thanks so much, Tony. Good morning, everyone. It's a perfect day for a perfect announcement, and I know Brooke Pardue never misses a detail, and she made sure the weather was good for us as well. Tony gave you the history of why we're here, and obviously I don't want to repeat that, but we were able to get $500,000 through what we're calling now community projects. These are what we used to call earmarks. This is when the member of Congress actually gets to make a case for an individual project. And I don't know why we ever ended them, but we restored them. We ended them in 2010. We restored them 2 years ago. And I'm really happy that we were able to get these two community projects, the $500,000 for the green space here and the $480,000 for the odor mitigation. These projects have to be vetted. It's not just whether I say we want it or another member says they want it. These have to be vetted with the House Appropriations Committee. And I think what's important to stress today is that this was a compelling case. When we made the case before the Appropriations Committee and let them know that actually only 1% of the land in the California neighborhood is dedicated to parks or open space, it doesn't take anybody supreme intelligence to understand that that's not a healthy that's not the sign of a healthy community or a healthy neighborhood. We went over the history of the flood and what that meant for this neighborhood and how important this project would be in making a significant impact in an area that's been overlooked for far too long. So anyway, we were, again, very, very grateful to be able to make that case and to get awarded these two grants. Tony mentioned the partnerships here: MSD, Parks Alliance of Louisville, FEMA, Louisville Metro. Met Dreama here. You've had her introduced. Juan Davis Jr., who serve on the Parks Alliance board. Even the fifth graders at Wheatley Elementary, who designed basically their dream playground. And so you talk about community participation when it's not just neighbors and landowners and residents, but it's also kids who will be primary users of this space. I remember back in 2009 when this flood occurred, as Tony mentioned, 7 inches in about an hour. We heard from residents asking for help, and we were hopeful, and they were hopeful, that the federal government could assist the families and businesses in recovering. Responding to those calls and messages in the wake of that storm was my then constituent services manager. She got to work burning up the phones with the congressional affairs people for FEMA, and she worked as then President Obama declared that flooding a disaster. She helped as FEMA began the flood mitigation process, and the residents were voluntarily relocated to higher ground. My office was engaged every step of the way because this person took that on as her passion. She's no longer with my office. She's gone on to bigger and better things, but I'm thankful that she's not gone too far. In fact, she's right here. And Brooke, I want to congratulate and thank you for more than 10 years of hard work on this project. This is obviously something that's a full circle moment for you, and so happy and thankful for the work that you've done. I know that you stuck with it because of the impact that this project could have. Neighborhoods with access to green space are healthier, have more economic investment, and see more of a real return on their investment. For California neighborhood families, this park will be conserved forever as a communal space for recreation, education, and celebration. And to quote our president, this is a big deal. So thanks to all involved. It's been an honor to play a small role in this, and the best of luck, continued progress for California.
Thank you, Congressman Yarmouth. And all the while, as we got the FEMA grant and a lot of the work began in trying to move forward, we had to coordinate a lot with the mayor's office and also with Louisville Forward and other Metro agencies as we were looking at properties that were owned by Metro and some properties that were owned by individual owners. So a lot of coordination had to occur, and a lot of support for this project. We would not be here today also if we didn't have the support of our mayor, Mayor Greg Fisher. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tony, and good morning, everybody. It is great to be here. Just to comment on our congressman here as he exits the public service stage here in about 4 months or so. We are really blessed for him to be in the position that he's in right now as chairman of the Budget Committee for the U.S. House of Representatives, with the amount of federal funds that are coming into cities to help us recover from the pandemic and really invest in projects that were just dreams for so long that are coming to reality right now. So I know the congressman will have a farewell tour over the next several months, but I just want to again accentuate what a blessing he's been to our city. Congressman, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
And then special thanks again to Tony and his team. One of the things I've really loved about our MSD team is they see themselves, and they are much more than keepers of our Metropolitan Sewer District. When they see opportunities to make our whole city better, they do it. This is a project, as an example, where it was important to Tony and his team to steward this through the community, working with Brooke, working with the council, working with us to make sure it's repurposed into a beautiful park. When we think about the stormwater retention basins that have been completed around the community, the questions that Tony would ask would be, okay, how can we do this project, but how can we make our community better in the process? So when you take a look at Shawnee Park, for instance, where we play the Juice Bowl, the football game over Thanksgiving, underneath that field, big stormwater retention basin. Improvements at Cherokee Park, how are they being paid for? MSD through that project. So I just want to say, Tony, I really appreciate your citywide thinking on how to make the whole city better, in addition to what you do with MSD. So let's hear it for Tony Parrott as well. Council's been a huge part of this project. All these projects take partners. So President James, thank you to you and the entire team as well. But while we have these elected officials up here, I think we should all remember, the other day I went to Uncle Google and I asked him, what is the most important political office in the country? Came back, Louis Brandeis was one of the quotes on there. Louis Brandeis said, the most important political office of all is the office of citizen. So think about that. what do each and every one of us do as citizens, especially non-elected folks, to make our communities a better place and ask for nothing in return other than you are a citizen of Louisville or the United States of America. And I say that because I want to pass big thanks to a wonderful citizen, Dreama Jackson, here with us today, and other residents of the California neighborhood for their wisdom and their guidance after experiencing a tragedy in 2009. You can have a lot of reactions to that. One, you can hit the road, or two, you can say, I'm doubling down to make my community a better place. So Dreama, I want to thank you and your team for just the incredible tenacity you've had to see this project through. We're not done, but this is a big milestone today. Let's hear it for Dreama and the entire California neighborhood team. I think, too, when we think about that 2009 rainfall, we didn't know it at the time, but it was a precursor for what we're seeing with all the climate chaos that we're experiencing right now. These cloud bursts where we're seeing more rain coming down in greater amounts than we've ever seen in our lifetimes before. And so I know that was 13 years ago, but we didn't know then about what we're going to be seeing as we navigate through this climate change that we're in right now. So that was our first warning. This was a way that we could respond with infrastructure and green space, and perfectly appropriate to do that, and we've got a lot more opportunities to do that as well. Nature-based opportunities are important, and our urban forestry division has long been working to create just that by planting more trees in this area, along with Brightside and many other partners, for all kinds of good reasons. Better air quality reduces the urban heat island effect. And let's face it, who doesn't like trees? Trees are beautiful, and they make us feel good. As a matter of fact, some doctors now are prescribing forest bathing. So if you're feeling a little tense, they say go walk in the woods for an hour. You're going to feel a lot better. So let's treat our trees with respect. So our plans for a new park here really fit right in on all these fronts, and at the same time builds a lot of momentum that we see going on in the community with our parks to ensure our kids have access to nature-based amenities. This playground here is going to be a natural playground with music features. I'm sure Dreama will talk more about that. We can have programming here through our ECHO program, which is based out of Jefferson Memorial Forest, but it's designed to create opportunities for nature play, with Shawnee and Chickasaw Park being a big part of that already. So it's important to note that we're getting all this done because Wilderness Louisville, the Olmsted Parks Conservancy, are stepping up time and time again. You've seen Victory Park redone just in these past couple of years. That's just a mile away from here. So a lot of good stuff is really going on. This project, somebody had to step up and say, we're going to own it. As the congressman said, no surprise, Brooke Perdue says, I'm taking this on. So really appreciate, Brooke, you and the Parks Alliance for stepping up and seeing this project through to what's going to be a great finale here in the California neighborhood. And then as I close, just a few other folks to thank. I want to recognize the city's Office of Housing and Community Development, particularly Laura Grabowski. Laura did most of our work engaging the community around the plans for this park and assisted with the land acquisition. Our beautification and sustainability organization, so of course we know that as Brightside, is helping out quite a bit and is planting trees on the site and helping obtain some grants for this project as well. And then last but not least, the team at Louisville Parks and Recreation, including Director Margaret Brosco. I saw Margaret around here somewhere, always low-key in the back, but thank you, Margaret. And then the Assistant Director of Engineering Infrastructure, Jason Canuel, a very busy guy, doing all kinds of good work. And then Assistant Directors Ben Johnson and Masudi Dayar as well. Thank you to everybody. It takes a great partnership to get this done, and this is just another wonderful example for our city. Congratulations, everybody.
You know, when we first started this project, after we received the grant, we had the task of trying to acquire over 200 parcels and properties and then going through a demolition process. One of the biggest assets we had on our side, that a lot of this area, California at that time, was in President Council Member James's district. And we were not having a lot of success with really getting access and responses in a lot of areas. So I can tell you that he spent enormous amount of time, hours, boots on the ground, walking with our staff to make sure that we were successful in getting access to the properties that we needed to. So want to thank and also ask him to come and make some comments. President James.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to California. So up until December, when we did redistricting, this used to be my district. Now it's Councilman Ja'Cory Arthur's area. And I can remember back in 2009 when the rain occurred, and I was looking at 3rd and Eastern Parkway, and the Cardinal Bird was underwater. And then I remember coming through Old Louisville and saw water pouring into people's houses. And I remember coming over to Maple Street, and I thought, oh dear God, this is not good at all. And I remember when MSD, Tony, called me and said, hey, I think we're going to be able to help get some work done. And he told me about the grant, and that we would be able to purchase homes and be able to help people that were desperate at that point in time. And so I just want to take a moment to say thank you, Tony Parrott, for all the work that you did to help the folks that were in this community. I cannot thank you enough. Good work. And then I need to also do the same as the mayor just did and say to John Yarmouth, our congressman, you are a rock star. And I always tell people when I grow up, I'm going to be like John Yarmouth. So the work that you've done for our community in Congress when it's not easy, when I've talked to him before and I say, how do you do it? And he says, you just got to do it every day. And so you have done it every single day. And I want to say thank you. We are going to miss you so much. I just want to say thank you so much. And also, Mayor Fisher, all the things that the mayor just listed would not have happened unless Mayor Fisher said, it's going to happen. And so his team, Margaret Brosco, everybody that helped make this possible and went out with us and knocked on doors and talked to people and helped make it work when it would normally not work, the extra effort that it took. Mayor Fisher, you've always done that, and I just want to say thank you for that. So it's incredible that we're here today, because I remember when we first started the conversation, there were homes here, there were flooded out homes here, there was trash everywhere, and I thought as we had the conversation and we had our very first meeting over at Eastern Star Baptist Church with Dr. Moses, that I thought, well, I think we got a long way to go. And but I thought it could be done if everybody worked together. And this is what it looks like when everybody works together. Dreama has always been a fixture in the California community, that has been the person that you could come to and talk to and hear from about how to make her community better. And Dreama doesn't get paid for that. She does it because she loves her community and she loves the people around her. And for her and the team of community members that worked on this day in and day out and knocked on doors and talked to people, and I just got to say thank you to you all for what you do now, what you've done before, and what you're going to do in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I guess the last thing I want to say, because when you come third in the conversation, there's not much more you can say. I want to really say that this opportunity for the citizens of the California neighborhood to be able to have this green space is amazing, because as the mayor said, or maybe it was Tony, about the 1%, or maybe it was a congressman, that 1% of green space in the California neighborhood is still not good. It's not healthy. And to be able to have an opportunity for children in this community to have a place to go, for families to be able to have a place to gather, for community to be able to come together for the purpose of community building is going to be so much of an asset for this part of our city. And it's something that's been neglected for such a long time. And so I just really want to thank everybody involved for the work that they've done. I know I've left somebody out, and if I did, I'm sorry, but I thank you too. I thank everybody for doing what they've done to make this a better day for this neighborhood and for this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President James. And the MSD team, once we got the grant, a lot of our staff members, Stephanie Laughlin, standing over here, John Lockley back there in our engineering group, and also our professional engineers that supported us, Clay Kelly and Paul Moran, and also Lori Haggerty, Lori, all of our folks that assisted us as we were working through the grant and the acquisition process. Brian Bingham and Angela Ackridge and David Johnson and all, Wes Sidnor, everybody that was meeting with the community to get us to this point has been very successful. And under our community benefits umbrella, Sharice Horn, our Director of Community Benefits. We also had to transition and start working with a local partner. And that local partner, I think the Congressman mentioned, was really the seed for all of this from the FEMA grant on. So it's so fitting that we have a partner like the Parks Alliance, and so glad to have Brooke Purdue here today.
Appreciate you. So President James said something about being third. I guess I'm fourth, but hopefully I do have new things to say. So I am so pleased to be here today. I am joined by my colleagues and representatives from our board of directors. I want to start by saying a long line of thank yous. My former boss, Congressman Yarmouth, not only is the financial support that came through his office that we're celebrating today so critical, but the assistance from you and your staff that's been provided to this project and to your constituents here in Louisville, over the years, we will be eternally grateful. We would also not be here today if it were not for the dedication and hard work of our friends at MSD. We were intentional when we changed our name to the Parks Alliance because it truly takes an alliance to do great things. Tony Parrott and his team have been steadfast over the years in overcoming so many hurdles, and we're grateful for that incredible partnership. We are really excited to move forward with the development of this community asset, but it would not have been possible without the support and guidance of the wonderful residents of the California neighborhood. They determined the features that we will incorporate in Phase 1. They selected the theme of the future park, which is thriving community, to ensure the design honors the people and places that make this neighborhood special. And, excuse me. And today we're announcing the launch of a neighborhood survey so that residents can choose the name of the park. So for the California residents out there, please keep an eye out for a survey that is being mailed to every household in the California neighborhood. And that survey is also available online right now at parksalliancelou.org. And that will be the final phase of community engagement before we move on to actually building Phase 1. While we're excited to be here today celebrating the addition of this new, much-needed public park, we must acknowledge, as others have, that everyone in our community does not have the same access to quality outdoor recreation and green space. To that end, the Parks Alliance is leading a Parks for All equity initiative to assess the condition of every park in our city, the issues affecting the people that are served by those parks, and what residents want to see from their public park system. Already, the study is spotlighting stark disparities resulting from decades of disinvestment. But the good news is Parks for All will provide Louisville with a strategic roadmap to guide green investments and strengthen neighborhoods. We will share the results and recommendations later this year, so please stay tuned for that report on our Parks for All study. So while we celebrate this milestone, be assured the Parks Alliance of Louisville will continue to drive equitable investment in our public parks to ensure the health and well-being of our entire community. And now, it's my distinct honor to introduce Dreama Jackson. You guys have heard a lot about her, but at the Alliance, we know residents know best what is needed to make their neighborhoods more vibrant, healthy, and connected. That's why we have centered the voice of the community in creating this new public park, and Dreama exemplifies the wisdom of this approach. A longtime California resident and community leader, she has played a vital role in bringing this park to life. Not only did she participate with MSD and early discussions about how to activate this green space, she has remained steadfast to this day in stewarding the project to fruition. In 2020, Dreama and fellow California resident Juan Davis, who I know is here somewhere, joined the board of directors of the Alliance, providing leadership not only to this project, but to the work of our organization across the city. Dreama and Juan are also participating in our Maple Street Green Space Leadership Committee. It's a group of more than a dozen residents who have stewarded this effort over the last year and a half. Please join me in welcoming Dreama Jackson.
All right, first off, don't believe a word anybody said. I happen to love the city of Louisville. I've lived here all my life. I was born and raised here. And I'm a proud resident of the West End of Louisville. When my kids were younger, I moved into the California neighborhood. And I met a lot of fantastic people, residents. That's what Louisville's about. When I talk to people from around the country, they talk about our neighborhoods and the fact that the residents in those neighborhoods come together for things they want to see positive. I call it the West End of Louisville because that's how I was raised. I know the new thing is West Louisville, but that's a city on the other side of Owensboro. I have become involved in several things over the years, the Maple Street project being one of the most recent. And because of it, I've come to appreciate a lot of people who live in this neighborhood, a lot of their voices. When we first started this, MSD, Parks Alliance, they had questions that they wanted to ask people as far as what they wanted to see. I said, throw that out and start with a blank sheet of paper. Let them tell you what they want to see. And as Brooke already said, thriving communities came out on top. But the next thing was music. Music is a part of life here in Louisville, and definitely down here in the West End. And so our playground is going to consist of musical theme structures. I'm not sure if they've put out the rendering of it or not, but you will see it as it comes to fruition. I want to thank all these people up here, because without them, this project wouldn't have happened. I want to thank the Maple Street Leadership Council, because those are residents who said, I want to be involved. I want my voice to be heard. I want to go out and knock on doors and let other voices be heard. You only see like a few people at different community engagement events, but behind those few people are other people. People that they live next door to, people that they see every day, people that they work with, people that they talk to. They have kids, they have needs. They're just part of the fabric of the city of Louisville. And because they're part of this fabric, they're passionate about what goes in their community. And this park is going to be a unifying park. We have California Park, we have Victory Park. They're both in the California neighborhood. But this park, once we find a name for it, will be a unifying park, one that doesn't divide the community into two halves, but brings together everybody for the enjoyment of just being family. I want to thank you for being here today. I want you to remember that on top of all the negative that goes on, there is a lot of positive, a lot of positive. There are people in this neighborhood that you don't know about that will open their doors and feed a hungry child. There are people in this neighborhood that clean out their closets every once in a while and then look for people who might need it. There are people in this neighborhood who just care about the city of Louisville. And to that point, I just want to say thank you. Just thank you. Thank you to all those involved. Thank to all those that took the survey. Thanks to all those that lend their voices to make this possible.
Thank you, Dreama, and again, thank you all for coming out today to recognize and celebrate this transformation. As I said earlier, we have proven that the whole is greater than the sum of all the different parts. And so with everybody working together, we were able to create a community of the future. And I know the renderings are over there, and I know Park Alliance is here. Our folks are here if there are any questions. But with that, we will come to the end of the press conference. Thank you very much.